Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to another episode of the World Cup Review Show. Episode 13, can you believe that? With me, Stephan, your host from Wheelie FC TV. Yes, we're 13 episodes into this World Cup Review Show, and today we're going to be looking back at Brazil versus Norway, England versus Mexico, or Mexico versus England, whatever way you want to put it. We've got Spain and Portugal to look back on, as well as USA and Belgium, and we'll be taking a look to today's games between Egypt and Argentina. Then there's another one later on which we'll take a look at as well. But as usual, guys, before we get into today's episode, you know what to do by now. All the social media handles are down the bottom. If you could like, share, subscribe, follow, that would be absolutely amazing, guys. As you can see, we're on many platforms, so do drop us a follow and keep up to date with everything from Wheelie FC. This episode will be available tomorrow wherever you get your podcasts in audio format. And with that being said, guys, let's get into today's episode. Let's get right in about it. So, the first game we have to look back on is, of course, from the last 16 between Brazil and Norway. Now, for all intents and purposes, on paper, guys, you would think, Brazil should and might be too good for Norway. But as it turned out, folks, not a bit of it. Norway and Stoiso back in their coach were on their game. They were absolutely on their game, and they scored 2 goals within 11 minutes. All the goals coming in the second half. It was 0-0 at half time. But with 10 minutes to go, Haaland does what he does best. Pops up from across, heads the ball in, and then 11 minutes later, because that was in the 79th minute, 11 minutes later, he pops up again with a wonderful strike through the legs of the Brazilian defender and right into the bottom corner. Alisson had no chance in the Brazil goal, no chance whatsoever. And Brazil go out at an early stage for them, the round of the last 16. So when you think about it, guys, big teams that have gone out include Brazil, Germany, Portugal, but we'll come on to that, Croatia, and a few more to mention. But that was, of course, not before Neymar got a consolation penalty strike in the 100th minute of the game, 90 plus 10, guys. Neymar pulled one back, but it was all too little, too late, and too in vain for Brazil. The Norwegian Vikings triumphed over the Brazilians, and they move on to a tie on Saturday in Miami against the one, the only England, who of course played a few hours later after the Brazil game. We'll come on to that game in just a second, but can I just say, Erling Haaland, folks, what a player he is for Norway. He is the leader, he is the strength, he is the player that they've built that team around. And Norway are actually looking pretty good, folks. They could be a surprise package to get to even the semi-finals. Now, they've not been in the World Cup since 1998. So we've been away the same time as Scotland. And it's their first World Cup in 28 years as well. And they're doing much better than anyone anticipated. But of course, when you've got a player like Haaland up front, and you've got the likes of Trossard in midfield and all that, you're going to have a good spine to your team. And they're surprising everybody. And he's certainly surprised the Brazilians. Well done to Norway. Can they cause another surprise on Saturday? Let's hope so, guys. It would be brilliant to see if Norway beat England, but of course, we've still got 4 days to wait before that kicks off. So well done to Norway for making it through to the quarter finals. Then, of course, in the wee hours of the morning, actually 2 a.m. to be precise, because there was a thunderstorm in Mexico City. It was Mexico versus England. Now, this game, I had to watch a rerun because I had planned to stay up, but I fell asleep, so watched the rerun in the morning, and this game was just packed with incident. However, it all really got going in the 36th minute when Jude Bellingham popped up onto the end of a Anthony Gordon ball and headed home. Then, just a minute and a half later, he scores again. Then Joel Kwanzaa gets sent off for a high tackle. Now, we'll talk more on this in a minute. Harry Kane then scored a penalty in the 60th minute. But of course, before half time, I should haste to add, Quillenez pulled one back for Mexico, so it was 2-1 at half time. What a strike that was, by the way. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Then Raul Jimenez scored a penalty 9 minutes after Harry Kane's in the 69th minute. But the reason why this game was packed with such incident, because everyone was going on about the altitude, about the hostile atmosphere, how would England cope in the match? Well, it pains me to say it, ladies and gentlemen, but through gritted teeth, they won the match. So obviously, they dealt with things perfectly. But the English FA are planning on putting in an appeal against Joel Kwanzaa's red card in the 54th minute. Now, while it was a high tackle, or it looked high, apparently the English FA are doing it because he wasn't doing it in an aggressive manner. His eyes were on the ball. That the red card should be rescinded or at least downgraded to a yellow card. Now, this all kicked off because of what Donald Trump done for Ballyun to play against Belgium. Now, as well know, Gianni Infantino, president of FIFA, lives out of Donald Trump's back pocket at the moment. And of course, if the president phones up and says, "Can I speak to Gianni?" They say, "Yes, of course you can," blah, blah, blah. Obviously, he spoke to Gianni. He said, "I don't think that was a red card." And of course, well, letter of the law, it looked a red card to me, but obviously, if you're a president of the USA, you've got influential powers, of course, and that sort of uh, brought about back rescinding their sent of Belgian red cards. So, of course, other FAs or football associations, to give them their proper title, that have got players on yellow cards and red cards and things like this that are still in the tournament, are now trying this tactic as well. But whether it works or not, I just don't know. I mean, we are going to have to watch and see how this unfolds, obviously, but Donald Trump's plan to keep America and keep their players fresh in the tournament has kind of backfired, and we'll come on to that in just a moment or two. But It's all set up now for England to take on Norway in the quarterfinals in Miami on Saturday. And it's a 11 p.m. kickoff, guys, UK time. So if you are staying up for it, it's a little bit earlier than 1 a.m. of course. But in actual fact, actually turned out to be 2 a.m. because there was a thunderstorm in Mexico City. But of course, that's another host nation knocked out because, as we all know, Canada were knocked out the previous night by Morocco by 3 goals to 0. And now Mexico fell at the Azteca, a stadium which they hardly ever used, I think, since it was revamped and rebuilt. We've only lost there twice. We'll make that 3 times now in the whole time that the stadium's actually been rebuilt and reused. So we were feeling that one. We were on tears. But like I say, it's another host nation out. And through gritted teeth, congratulations to Kane and Co and Tuchel and Co for getting to the quarterfinals. But as we always say, guys, ABE. So on Saturday, I'll be a Norwegian Viking going, who, rowing my proverbial boat, as it were, um, with my Norwegian brethren, my Norwegian brothers. Yeah, guys, you can have a laugh. Yeah, you can have a laugh, but I'm going to be turning Norwegian on Saturday doing my boat rowing impression. Sorry, guys, I'm just looking at my carer, Danny. She was doing that there, and it was quite funny. She was actually laughing, you can probably hear in the background. Right, but enough chatter about you know who. Oh, let's move on. Let's move on to Portugal versus Spain much later in the day. So if you were pulling an all day and all nighter, well done to you guys for that. It was 0-0 at half time in this game between Portugal and Spain, and Mikel Merino scored in the first minute of stoppage time to give Spain the victory against their Portuguese counterparts in Dallas. It was in Dallas, and but sadly that brings an end, or what we think is coming to an end of someone's glittering international career, let's just say, and of course Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, if he doesn't retire, which wouldn't also surprise me in the slightest, at the next World Cup, if he was to play in any way, shape, or form, he would be 45 years old, ladies and gentlemen, at the next World Cup. So if he plays, again, all credit to him. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he was to play, because it is Cristiano Ronaldo, and let's be honest, he kind of defies the odds anywhere he goes. It would not surprise me one iota. But I think if he was to do the decent thing and the right thing for his body, that he would retire from international football after this competition, this tournament. Yeah, he could still be a club player for another couple of seasons with Al Nassr, who of course are now managed by Ange Postecoglou. But of course, we'll just have to wait and see what he does. But like I said, guys, it is Cristiano Ronaldo, so nothing would surprise me, and I'm not ruling anything out of this stage. Only Cristiano Ronaldo can surprise himself. And then, of course, overnight we had The USA, the last host nation in action against Belgium. Now, it was 2.5 time in this game. Again, I was going to watch this, but all these late football games, guys, must be catching up with me because I fell asleep. I had planned to watch it, but I fell asleep. So, Cotter scored in the 9th and 33rd minute for Belgium to give them a 2-1 lead because Tillman pulled one back for the USA in the 31st minute. But Fana Ken scored in the 57th, and of course Romelu Lukaku scored in the 93rd. Well, what can I say? Donald Trump's plans backfired. He was basically trying any which way to keep the USA in the World Cup with getting Belgium's red card suspended for 1 year. However, if there is any more infringements within that time, his red card will be enforced and he'll have to serve his suspension. But the scoreline tells it all. 4-1, guys. The USA have actually gone out with a bit of a whimper. Now, I know that Mauricio Pochettino's motto was, why not us? Why not us? Well, that's all well and good, but you kind of went out with a bit of a whimper. So there's no host nations left in this year's World Cup at all now, guys. There is Belgium, there's England, there's Norway, there's France, there's Argentina, there's, well, I say there's Argentina. We'll come on to that. There could be Egypt, there could be Switzerland, and there could be Colombia going into the last eight. And that brings us on to today's games, guys. We've got 2 games today, and we're going to check and see if we've won overnight. No, in fact, it looks like there can't be. There's no World Cup games tomorrow. There isn't, guys. The World Cup's on the day off tomorrow, which is a complete surprise to me, but there is 2 games there's 2 games tonight, guys. There is Argentina versus Egypt, which kicks off at 5 p.m. UK time, so in just about 40 minutes time, guys. And I think this one, and I know it sounds like a broken record, but I think this one will be close. I don't think it'll be a runaway for Argentina at all. If Egypt can take anything, I hope they can be inspired by what Cape Verde done against Argentina. So I think this is going to be close. I think it's going to go to extra time and possibly penalties. Now, if I was to say a prediction, obviously Argentina are stronger on paper. We've got Messi and Co. You've got Martinez. You've got Lisandro. Well, with 2 Martinezes, Emi Martinez and goals and Lisandro Martinez and Messi. But Egypt have got Mo Salah, haven't they? So it's going to be a good battle between those 2. But if I was to pick a winner, who would I go for? If I was to pick a winner, I would say just, and I mean just again, Argentina. Now, Switzerland versus Colombia is the other last 16 tie this evening at 9 o'clock UK time. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what about the Swiss, but they have played well in the tournament, as have Colombia. And if I was to pick a winner in this one, I'd say purely because they're European, I would, I would go for. Well, yeah, I'll go for the holy cheese country. I'll go for the Swiss to beat Colombia and book their place in the last eight. Because I think the European team will just be strong and uh, will just get past Colombia. I think it'll be 2-1 Switzerland, and I think it'll be 2-1 to Argentina after extra time. And like I say, guys, there is no World Cup games tomorrow according to my screen. So I think the next World Cup game is the quarter-final on Thursday evening at 9 o'clock between France and Morocco, and that is the only game that day. So again, these little snapshots, little episodes will get most probably slightly shorter, but I'll try and bring you as much content uh, as I can. Also, in other non-World Cup news, Alessandro Tonali has completed his move from Newcastle United to Spurs for a reported fee of just over £100 million. In the latest news for the next Scotland manager, wait for this one, guys. Bobby Williamson, do you remember him? Manager of Kilmarnock and Dundee United, to name a few teams in Scotland. Well, apparently he's been managing the Kenyan and Ugandan national teams, and he wants to throw his hat into the ring to become Scotland manager. He would like Ali McCoist and Scott Brown to join his backroom staff, and also Jurgen Klopp is to become the new manager of Germany. His exit from Red Bull Sports Group is being ironed out and should be all ratified within the coming days. But do let me know in the comments, guys, what you think to the Scottish managerial search news that I've just given you about Bobby Williamson wanting to throw his hat into the ring. And that brings today's episode to a close, guys. Thank you to everyone for watching and listening this far. It's been absolutely brilliant having you along. As always, guys, keep it wheelie, keep it real. All the social media handles are down the bottom here. Do give a like, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. It all helps the channel, and your support means a lot. Until the next time, guys, take care, and I'll see you on the next one. And as always, keep it real and keep it locked to Wheelie FC TV. Thank you for watching and listening, guys. I'll see you soon.